After drifting away for half my life, I returned to the village. Just to ask if the promise she made to me back then still counted. I asked. Weren't we supposed to agree that if we were both still single this year, we'd take each other home for the new year? She lowered her head, too shy to look at me. She said, I brought my boyfriend home. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, right there. I called my female boss Anna. I asked, could you pretend to be my girlfriend and come spend the new year with my family? Anna replied. All right, fine. I'll be passing by anyway. She said it was on her way. But she took a flight overnight, switched to a high-speed train, took a rural bus, then a donkey cart, and finally reached the town. She said, Grand, I've arrived. I quietly replied, wait, I'll have Auntie take a tricycle to pick you up in the town. Also, in the village, call me by my real name, George Wong. Anna found this absurd. What a crude name. Chapter 1. The day after her holiday back to the village. Heavy snow had fallen. I was standing outside feeding the chickens. But I spilled the rice, and it rolled down the slope. The chickens rushed down after it. And I slid down after them. My grandma was watching from behind. She shouted, safe travels. See you next year, I replied. I'm just chasing the chickens, Grandma answered. The chickens already turned back. So why are you still sliding forward? I said. I can't stop. I slid all the way to her house. The door was open, and Willow stood there, staring at me in disbelief. We hadn't seen each other in 5 years, and she had long shed the youthful innocence of the past. Her face was still striking, but now bore the marks of time. She wore a khaki trench coat, though the brand wasn't clear. It made her look elegant and graceful. The village girl who once didn't know how to dress or wear makeup now looked like a magazine model. Willow snapped out of her daze. She asked, what are you doing here? I replied. Chasing chickens. Just happened to pass by. She asked. And the chickens? I turned around. There wasn't a single chicken in sight. I sighed. Maybe they went home first. The world seemed to mute in that moment. In those nights when I had diarrhea from eating Wallace burgers, I had rehearsed countless scenarios of reuniting with Willow. But now that we were face to face, every word felt like it burned my mouth. I pinched the bridge of my nose and said, by the way, I just remembered something I wasn't planning to ask. It just popped into my head. She nodded. Go ahead. Ask, I said. Didn't you promise me that if we were both still single at 28, we'd take each other home for the new year? Willow froze for a moment, pressed her lips together and said, that was an agreement from years ago. You still remember? I whispered. Yeah, I thought you'd remember too. I had already predicted this outcome, yet I still couldn't help asking. The atmosphere fell silent again for a few seconds. Willow reluctantly spoke. George, this time, I'm bringing my boyfriend back. The weather was freezing. I had a cotton jacket inside my down coat. Long johns tucked into my leggings. Woolen pants were wrapped tightly. But still, something deep in my chest felt like it had cracked from the cold. Before the awkwardness could get any worse, I quickly said, I should get going. The chickens might be looking for me. Just as I was about to turn around, a man came out of Willow's house. He was short, about 158 inch, and naturally, he put his arm around Willow's waist. He said, hey, we have a guest. Willow, is this Mr. Wong, the one from next door who's great at stewing chicken? The air grew thick again. If I had known, I wouldn't have come looking like I just crawled out of a chicken coop. I had just wanted to keep it casual. To make it look like a coincidence with a messy hairstyle, protecting whatever little dignity I had left. But I didn't expect this kind of scene. All my last shred of dignity was swept away. Willow said, this is my childhood friend, George. Then she introduced him. This is my boyfriend, Makoto. Makoto had a luxury watch on his wrist, a high-end suit, and clearly no cotton jacket underneath, just a light shirt and a fancy tie. If he hadn't been shivering, he would have looked decent. Even his name felt like a downgrade for me. How fancy it sounded compared to my simple, straightforward name, meant to bear my father's hopes. I suddenly felt drained of all my strength, so I politely said, I'm a bit tired. I should go find my chickens. Makoto stepped forward, stood on his toes, and pressed down on my shoulder. You're George? Willow's mentioned you. You two went to school together from primary to university. Such a coincidence. Willow even has your photos on her computer. I didn't expect you to look like this in person. I thought you were the old Wong from next door. What a funny misunderstanding. I was speechless. I lowered my head and said, yeah, what a coincidence. This guy looked refined, his stature like a child, yet his words hit like a dagger. I hadn't washed my hair, and suddenly I was Mr. Wong from next door. Poor old Wong from next door. Willow softly explained. It's from an old computer. I forgot to clean it up. Makoto asked. George, do you have a girlfriend? I looked up, just as Willow's gaze met mine. perhaps afraid that the embers of my unspoken feelings would be exposed. I instinctively tried to cover it up. Yeah, I have a girlfriend. Willow's expression immediately darkened. Makoto laughed. Haha, that's great. Otherwise, I would have thought you two were childhood sweethearts, and that would have been awkward. In that moment, I felt a heavy weight in my chest. I tried to leave, but he asked again. George, why didn't you bring your girlfriend home for the new year? His face was smiling, but I felt no warmth in his eyes. Like he was forcing me to give a clear answer. I rubbed my temple, enduring the discomfort. My girlfriend will be here in a couple of days. Then I added. Willow, since you have a boyfriend now, it's better to let everyone know in advance. Things that could be made clear beforehand don't need to turn into a mess. Chapter 2. That night, I didn't eat Wallace burgers, but still ended up with diarrhea. Willow's meaningful gaze and Makoto's hostile expression kept flashing before my eyes. I stood up and took a deep breath. This girlfriend situation was no longer avoidable. I scrolled through my contacts and stopped when I saw Anna's name. Anna was my female boss, a rich heiress, the female CEO of Sue Group. At the annual meeting, I won the grand prize in the raffle. The prize was dinner with the female boss. I calmly ripped up the winning ticket and decided to pretend I hadn't drawn that cursed prize. When it was time to announce the winners, however, Anna said, the grand prize was just a joke from the assistant. The real reward is that you can ask the boss to do something for you. So, who got the grand prize? The room went silent for 2 minutes. When I pieced together the 8 torn fragments of the ticket in front of Anna, even the most emotionally intelligent colleague couldn't muster a single word. Anna's face changed like a revolving lantern. After a long pause, she coldly said, decide what you want, then come to me for your prize. I forced myself to call Anna. She answered coldly. What is it? I laughed awkwardly, trying to please her. I want to claim my prize. It's okay to ask for anything, right? She scoffed and said. Tell me first, I said. Could you pretend to be my girlfriend and come spend the new year with my family? She asked. What? Anna's voice instantly shot up several octaves. My heart sank to the bottom. Asking my female boss to pretend to be my girlfriend was already absurd. What's worse, my hometown was in a remote, secluded village. A privileged young lady like Anna, born with a silver spoon in her mouth, would likely never set foot in such a place. It sounded ridiculous, I admit. I took a deep breath and gathered my courage. It's fine if you can't. I don't want to put you in a difficult position. Did you think I would say that? No, I won't. Lady Sue, you promised this prize yourself. If you don't fulfill it today, I'll hang myself at the company entrance and ruin Sue Group's reputation. Desperate, I had no choice but to go all in. Although I felt pathetic, there was silence on the other end of the line. I could almost hear her moving the phone away, and the sound of her sobbing. After a moment, she picked up the phone again. Her tone seemed to hold back both frustration and some hidden pleasure. Suppressing her emotions, she said, tell me your address. I thought to myself, the most afraid of barefooted people are those who wear shoes. I sent her a location pin. I said, this place is a bit tricky to get to. I'll send you the detailed travel instructions. Anna replied, okay. I was actually planning to go near there anyway. It's on my way. I fell into deep thought. On the way, this place is so remote even Google Maps can't find it. Chapter 3. Perhaps she was so afraid that I'd hang myself at the company entrance. Anna couldn't even sleep that night. She set off overnight. Following my travel guide, she took a night flight, changed to a high-speed train, then switched to a rural bus, and finally took a donkey cart. The next afternoon, I received a call from her. She said, Mr. Grand, I've arrived in the town. I was speechless. I whispered, wait a minute. I'll have my aunt pedal a tricycle to pick you up in the town, and in the village. Call me by my real name, George Wong. After my aunt set off on the tricycle, I stood by the village entrance waiting. It wasn't that my aunt refused to deliver door to door. She was well known for her good reputation for transporting people. Everyone could trust her, but I wanted to let the village information bureau know about this. I wasn't wrong. The news spread fast, from 1 to 10, and from 10 to 100. Soon, the whole village knew I was standing by the entrance to pick up my girlfriend. About 10 minutes later, Willow came out carrying a bottle. She said she was going to buy some vinegar. I stood at the village entrance for an hour. Willow had made 2 trips for soy sauce and 3 for vinegar. Finally, the tricycle arrived, albeit fashionably late. It was filled with luggage of all sizes and little gifts, leaving no space to even step down. Anna practically rode back on top of my aunt. Anyone who didn't know would think she was moving in. She was still covered in logos and flashy luxury brands. But after this long and dusty journey, even the most luxurious items were coated in a layer of dust, making them look like cheap knockoffs. The authentic heiress of a city's rich families. Most were elegant, low-key, and dignified. But Anna was the only one with such an extravagant style. But because the Sioux family was so rich, no one ever questioned her bad girl fashion. When Anna stepped off the tricycle, she was so exhausted her lips had turned pale. She smiled at me with a smile that said she was beautiful but had a rough life. A crowd of villagers gathered around to watch the spectacle. When they saw Anna, everyone was stunned. Someone said, "Wait, is it true that people actually look like this in real life?" A few of my buddies quickly stood behind me, keeping a safe distance from Anna. They loudly discussed, "I've been reading too many feel-good novels lately. I swear George's girlfriend looks like someone who's about to have a breakdown." Another person added, "Yeah, she's the type who would chase after a first love that went abroad." Someone else said, "Her dad would probably give George $5 million to get him to leave his daughter." Meanwhile, Makoto, who was watching the scene, burst out laughing. He said, "George, you're really something. Renting a girlfriend just to save face is one thing, but you rented one who loves to act. Isn't that a bit too much?" I said sincerely. "She's not acting. Everyone has their own style. If you don't understand, please show some respect," Makoto replied. "I heard everything you said to Willow yesterday. If you really had a rich, beautiful girlfriend, would you still be thinking about Willow?" He pointed to all the luggage and said, "All of this is rented, right? You're going to return it later, aren't you? Isn't that a hassle?" As he spoke, Anna had already started handing out souvenirs to the villagers. Everyone got a gift. Makoto even received one. Makoto stared. "Really giving? It's not some fancy packaged pickled mustard, is it?" He ripped open the packaging with a look of disdain. Inside was a box of imported chocolate worth over 500 yuan. Makoto's expression changed. He said, "Wow, quite the spender. Looks like you really fooled her." I was already wearing my painful expression. I couldn't bear to think about how this money would be deducted from my paycheck later. With great difficulty, I bent down and snatched the chocolate from Makoto's hands. Makoto gave me a contemptuous smile. He stood on his tiptoes and whispered in my ear, "At least you're smart today. Do you know what the most terrifying first love is? It's the kind that dies. Once it's dead, it will live on forever in your memories. But if it's alive and right in front of me, I have 100 ways to ruin it." I didn't want to argue with him, but after thinking for a moment, I still said, "If it's going to rot, it won't be my problem. And can you be a bit more normal? Have you been watching too many cheating stories? I really have no interest in fighting for a woman with you. Is that childish or what?" Makoto froze. Chapter 4. When we got home, my grandmother was sitting in the yard, peeling peanuts with her back to the door. Anna opened her mouth right away. She said, "Peanuts? Peeling aunties at home?" I looked at her, feeling drained. I said, "Calm down. Did you mix up your words?" Anna fell silent. In that tense moment, my grandmother heard the noise. Without turning around, she slowly asked, "Who is it?" Anna quickly straightened up. She said, "Beijing University student, Stanford University master's degree, CEO of a group, national senior baker, ambassador for the children's charity, winner of the flower hand goddess competition, TikTok artist, Anna." My grandmother replied, "Ah, what? So many people, the house might not fit." The free-range chickens all around the yard clucked. It felt like they were laughing at me, wondering where I had found this little bad girl. Anna turned to me and whispered, "If there's really no space at home, I can sit with the chickens." I rubbed my temples and said, "Can you stop talking for a moment? My head hurts a bit," Anna said. "My head actually hurts a little too. Maybe it's from the bumps on the road," I replied. I can tell. Anna was surprisingly easy to take care of. She crawled into the big floral quilt my grandmother had prepared for her and fell asleep as soon as her head hit the pillow. She didn't mind the bed or the poor conditions. No princess syndrome at all. In the morning, she complimented how stable the mood of my family's chickens was, saying they never crowed at night. She praised my grandmother's burnt bean soup for having a deep roasted coffee aroma that was intoxicating. I told her that no matter how successful someone was outside, they still had to help their grandmother with the chores when they came home. I told her that with her long legs, she was perfect for carrying the manure, and the heavy labor of plowing should be left to me. So, she seriously started learning the plowing tutorial. She said, "Every time you plow, you smash the big clods of earth, pick up the grass roots, and push them flat with the back of the hoe. First, the front of the hoe, then the back, plowing one row after another." She was so happy, so proud as she took the hoe and was ready to go. I said speechlessly, "What you just recited was the plowing tutorial, but you're holding a hoe." Anna said, "Oh, put down the hoe," and sincerely complimented me. "George, you're amazing. You can even tell the difference." I shrugged. "What's so amazing about that?" "She's rich enough not to tell the difference between a hoe and a rake. I'm poor enough to not know what to do." I turned my face, only to see Willow quietly standing outside the door. The world was silent. The last rays of the setting sun stretched her shadow long. She looked at me, her voice filled with grievance as she said, "George, can we talk?" Chapter 5. I often think back to the times I spent with Willow. The backdrop of those memories is always a sunny, vibrant summer. The trees on campus grew lush and green. Sunlight filtered through the branches, casting beams onto Willow's white dress. Back then, Willow was like the clear, sparkling dew of early spring. The moment she saw me, she would happily rush into my arms and act coquettishly. She would say, "George, I want to go eat pig's trotters today," and I would always feel guilty. Her academic performance could have easily gotten her into a top-tier university, but she stubbornly applied to the same average one as me. She said that even an ordinary university had its perks. Here, she could win the favor of the teachers. I knew she said that to ease my guilt. Since childhood, I had always been a loner. I wasn't eager to socialize and wasn't used to fighting for anything. Willow, on the other hand, was completely different. Her mind was always filled with strange and fascinating ideas. She had a unique ability to spot my strengths from odd angles and would encourage me with admiration. Under her influence, I gradually shed my inferiority complex and slowly developed a sense of awareness about life. I started striving to improve in both my studies and life. We spent 4 years together, ordinary yet intense, accompanying each other through our youth. Then came the time to look for jobs, and our happy days abruptly ended. That's when we realized the downside of attending an average university. Our school and major couldn't stand their ground in first-tier cities. During that time, our thoughts diverged, and our relationship quickly cooled. After much contemplation, I chose to continue studying for a master's degree, determined to stay in a city. She chose to return home and prepare for the civil service exams. On the day we parted ways, we made a pact: if we're both still single in 5 years, we'll bring each other home for the new year. An unspoken relationship, an indifferent conclusion. The wheels of fate began to turn, and they turned for 5 years. Willow pursed her lips and said, "I actually understood what you said yesterday. You know, when I found out that you've always had me in your heart, I was actually really happy." Willow looked at me, her eyes glistening with tears. I forced a smile and said, "If I had known you had already let go, I wouldn't have asked." Every year during the new year and on birthdays, you send me a bunch of vague messages, and you never mention anything important. If you had just said you had a boyfriend, I would have let go long ago. Chapter 6. We sat side by side on the stone bench under the old tree. When we were kids, we often sat here. We would soak the sheets we changed in hot water and detergent. Then, we'd beat them with a wooden mallet, one strike after another. Afterward, we'd take them to the river to rinse them clean. Willow said, "In the years we didn't see each other, I thought I had let go, but whenever you appear, everyone else just fades into the background." She spoke with such emotion, but I couldn't focus on her words. My attention was drawn to the yard. My grandmother was chasing the chickens back into the chicken coop. Anna, in her expensive high heels, was following behind, diligently shoveling chicken droppings. Her beautiful figure stood out, even in this out-of-place scene. As she outlined the curve of her hips, the picture strangely felt harmonious. Willow followed my gaze toward the yard and laughed softly. She teased, "The young lady is quite elegant even when shoveling chicken poop." I chuckled and smiled in relief. I said, "All these things that made me feel inferior for so many years. Things I was too embarrassed to let others know. She doesn't mind them at all. That's pretty moving to me." I paused and then continued. "Willow, do you know, in the past, I had no direction in life. All I wanted was to make more money, escape the countryside, and move to a big city for a brighter future. Poverty and inferiority were like a thorn in my soul, something I couldn't get rid of no matter what." Willow turned to look at me and said, "I know." I shook my head. "You know, but not really. My dad died young from alcohol. My mom's buried in debt from gambling. My teachers looked down on me while praising others, and my grandfather is bedridden. Even though we both came from rural backgrounds, I'm an only child, and the burden of the family fell entirely on me. I couldn't solve it, so I just wanted to escape. It's hard for you to truly understand the thorn that's embedded in my soul." Willow pressed her lips together in silence. I turned to face her and smiled. I said, "But now I've figured it out. Problems always have to be faced and solved. Once you take action, you realize that the difficulties that once troubled you may not be as hard as you thought. The worst outcome is still bearable. So, I've said goodbye to the anxious, self-consuming version of myself. I want to live my life fully again." Willow looked at Anna, who was busy in the yard. She gave a bitter smile. She said, "I thought you brought her back just to make me jealous." After Willow left, I returned home. Anna looked at me and rolled her eyes, starting to mock me. She snorted and said, "How's the replacement girlfriend working for you? Did it help you rekindle things with her?" I laughed and said, "Come on, you're still 2 steps from the door, eavesdropping. Don't think I didn't notice." She pouted and said, "Looks like I've been caught." But it was too far to hear clearly. She sat on a small stool, resting her chin in her hands. I asked curiously, "What are you doing here?" She replied, "Meditating." I asked, "What did you figure out?" Anna glanced at me, proudly saying, "Fresh chicken droppings are hard to shovel. If you freeze them overnight, they become hard, and you can shovel them quickly and cleanly. Not everything is best started as early as possible. Meeting at the right time is more important." Just like your past with her. I was speechless. She understands metaphors. Chapter 7. On the day we slaughtered the New Year's pig, my grandmother invited relatives and friends over. On the surface, it was a meal to celebrate the pig slaughter. In reality, it was to show off the daughter-in-law. I had reminded Anna beforehand, when you're talking to them, just go along with it. If they're too pleased with you, there will be a lot of awkwardness when we go our separate ways later. Anna shot me an angry glare, then turned her back on me and ignored me. Early in the morning, relatives and friends started arriving. Willow was also there. She said she missed the pig dishes my grandmother made. The two of them exchanged eye rolls, neither of them willing to back down. When we went to catch the pig, they both fought to be the first to get into the kitchen to boil water, start the fire, and prepare the food. Anna spoke up first. "Let me do it," Willow sneered. "Aren't you the wealthy daughter? Can you handle this kind of hardship?" Anna thought for a moment and sincerely replied, "It's not that I can't handle hardship. Last winter, my car was parked outside, and I forgot to close the convertible top. It froze overnight. The next morning, I had to drive to work with the top still open in the cold. I felt like my head was going numb that day." Willow clicked her tongue and said, "Then what about the car? Didn't you drive it here? Don't like it? Prefer riding in a tricycle?" The two of them exchanged another eye roll. In the end, one of them burned the pot, and the other almost set the firewood pile alight. I hurriedly put down what I was doing and helped them both out. I had them sit together, both looking disgruntled. I sighed. "You two stay aside, I'll do it." With that, I picked up the kitchen knife and chopped down so hard that I split the cutting board in half. My grandmother said, "You stay aside too." I quickly responded, "Okay." The three of us sat together, watching the elderly folks in the yard methodically slaughter the pig and prepare the food. It was quite comforting. I asked Willow, "What about Makoto? If you're here, what's he doing?" Willow pouted. "I broke up with him and sent him home." I asked, "What was his reaction?" She rested her chin on her hand and sighed. "He yelled like a pig being slaughtered. Even tried to hit me, but my dad pinned him to the ground. You know, despite his small size, it was hard to hold him down. But even the hardest pig can't escape the butcher's knife." The screams gradually quieted. A bucket of boiling water was poured on the pig, and the hair quickly fell off with the scraping knife. We, the young people who were all talk but never quite good at anything, lost our face and dignity. Even so, Willow still tucked her hair behind her ear, stood up proudly, and declared loudly, "George, I won't let you give up on me for that scheming girl. I may not be good at boiling water or cooking, but I'm really good at warming the bed." I was speechless. "Keep your voice down. This is really embarrassing." Willow pouted. "The third party is out of the picture. Without me, how would you advance the plot with the second female lead?" I was stunned. This world really felt like one giant NPC puzzle. Chapter 8. After the pig slaughter meal, Anna packed up her things and said goodbye. She proudly said to me, "Grand, thank you so much. These few days in the village have really taught me a lot about life. I grew up being pampered by my parents, and even though I've been to many places and thought my horizons were broad, it wasn't until I came here that I realized I was the one living in an information cocoon." She turned around and said, "See, I told you, you wouldn't believe me. I came here to learn, so it's true. I was just passing through." "All right, now that I've played the role of your girlfriend, I should be on my way." Too much exuberance in life can sometimes reveal the darkness in people's hearts. At that moment, I suddenly realized that I was just an NPC in Anna's world. This little episode was only to advance the main storyline of her life. Seeing me fall silent, Anna leaned over and poked my arm. She said, "If you don't like something, you have to speak up about it. Otherwise, people will think you don't mind. If you want something, you need to fight for it. Otherwise, why should good things come your way?" Finally, she gave me a bright smile and said, "Grand, good luck." She seemed to have no idea how I was feeling. My brow furrowed. After Anna left, the task of shoveling chicken poop fell back on me. Life went on, noisy yet peaceful, with the clamor of chickens, geese, cows, and sheep in the background. Occasionally, I would receive voice messages from Anna. She'd ask, "How's Grandma? How are the chickens? Are they okay with the rice? I didn't feed them myself. Mrs. Sand's geese next door are too unruly. Can Grandma raise a gentler, domestic goose next year? I want to continue the challenge of taming geese." She'd ask about everyone in the family, but never about me. Despite that, I felt a sense of calm and fullness inside. In the past, I was too shy to openly pursue a girl, because when I made phone calls, the chickens would crow. I had to wake up at 5 every morning to feed the chickens, but I wouldn't dare send a good morning text until 8. Now, I can talk openly to Anna about the chickens at home. When the cows happen to moo while we're on the phone, I can calmly wait for it to pass. The cracks that were once caused by long-term inferiority seem to be slowly healing. At the end of the call, I joked. Anna, you asked about all the animals at home, but why didn't you ask how I'm doing? There was a brief silence on the other end. Then Anna said, I think, you must be doing well at this moment. All right. Chapter 9. 3 days after Anna left. I never expected the malicious male antagonist to make a return. That day, I was busy trying to savor the crispy, charred aroma of the mixed bean rice. My phone buzzed with a message notification. I opened it to find a message from my good buddy. He said, George, Willow's boyfriend, Makoto, uploaded a video of your precious young lady online. I clicked on the video link. In the video, Anna was riding a tricycle back to the village. She looked disheveled, her luxurious clothes wrinkled like a poor imitation. At the end of the video, there was Anna bending down to shovel chicken poop. And Anna sitting with chickens at the doorstep, eating mixed bean rice. She looked simple and down to earth. Makoto's caption was as harsh as ever. He wrote, How pretentious can a vain woman be when she returns to the village for the new year? Have you ever seen such a unique young lady? Perhaps because this kind of content resonated with people returning to their hometowns for the holiday, it quickly gained popularity. By the time I saw it, the video had only been up for 2 hours, but likes, shares, and comments had already surpassed 10,000, and it was still rapidly growing. The words, rural heiress, quickly shot to the trending topic list. The comments were filled with reckless ridicule and mockery. Netizens wrote, Ha, which family's young lady is this? She's so silly. Didn't anyone tell her that a real heiress wouldn't dress like a butterfly or wear makeup like a social media influencer? Sitting in a pile of chickens, and it's actually a good look. There were also a bunch of people complimenting her outfit, claiming it was a great imitation and asking where they could buy it. After the video blew up, Makoto capitalized on the momentum. He immediately started a live stream. The video was repeatedly played in the live stream. The chat in the live stream was moving at lightning speed. Netizens commented, It's been 2 hours. Still no information on this heiress? I have to say, she actually looks kind of attractive. Can I get a monthly subscription for 3,000? Some people commented, Actually, she kind of looks like a real heiress I know, but I never heard she had a rural hometown. Upstairs, I know that heiress too. I don't get it. I need to look into this more. Watching the video of Anna looking so docile, and reading those sharp, mocking comments, I felt my blood boiling, shaking with anger. I changed my username to my real name. Then, I requested to join the live stream. When Makoto saw my name, he happily accepted the request. His arrogant demeanor made a smirk curve at the corners of his lips. He provoked. The person involved is here. You guys ask away. I barely contained my rage and said, Makoto, take that video down and apologize immediately. You've maliciously spread lies, incited hatred, and I will sue you until you're bankrupt. Makoto laughed out loud. You really thought you could handle it, but you're even worse than I imagined. You're already triggered so easily. Wasn't this heiress the one you brought back to the village? Poor enough to take a tricycle, yet still trying to put on a show, posting all this stuff with your big budget. Aren't you trying to run a scam in the village? Hearing his insults, I was furious. Anna, the high-class beauty, was now dragged into this mess because of me. I was lost for a moment, unsure whether I should expose her real identity to refute the rumors. I took a deep breath to steady myself. Instead of debating whether or not to defend myself, I decided to hit where it hurt. I said slowly, Makoto, this whole scene you're causing is just because your girlfriend dumped you, and you're looking for someone to take your anger out on. I told you before, I'm not interested in fighting over a girl. How childish is that? Why don't you understand? The tone in the comments shifted. Netizens wrote, Is there some inside story here? Some others commented, I hate these kind of melodramatic stories. Makoto's expression faltered for a moment. He said, It's not that I read too many novels. It's just that your disgusting behavior. Stealing my girlfriend. I laughed. I'm not interested in stealing your girlfriend. Even if you two broke up, I still have no feelings for her. Does that make you feel better? Can you stop spreading lies now? Seizing the opportunity, I buried him first. Makoto panicked. He said, It's not like that. I didn't. But the comment section had already completely turned against him. Netizens wrote, So it's all because of a woman. What a waste of time. Pfft. Simp. No shame at all. Makoto hurriedly ended the live stream. At that moment, my phone rang. It was Anna calling. She said, Grand. I'm about to start a live stream to support farmers, so I don't have time to explain everything to you. Don't worry about that incident. The company will handle it soon. Chapter 10. The live stream room on this side was still boiling. On the other side, Anna's Support Farmer live stream had started. This event had been organized by the local government for a long time and was quite grand. As soon as it began, it attracted a lot of viewers. In the broadcast, Anna was sitting next to the director of the Cultural and Tourism Bureau. She had a poised and charming smile. The host introduced her. Today, we are also honored to invite Miss Anna, the heiress of Sioux Group, a national senior baker, ambassador for the Children's Foundation, champion of the Floral Hand Goddess competition, TikTok People's Artist. Welcome. Anna smiled and said, "Don't worry, all these titles belong to me, and the live stream room can handle it." She was cute, lively, and down to earth, with a totally funny girl vibe. The live stream room immediately became lively. Soon, the onlookers made a new discovery. Someone commented, "Is this heiress the same rural heiress from the other live stream?" Anna ignored it and focused on her live stream. She kept them guessing. It wasn't until the viewer count peaked and the product introduction segment wrapped up successfully that Anna finally covered her mouth with a slight smile and responded. She said, "I saw all the questions you asked earlier." Now, to reply, "Yes, the strange rural heiress in that video is me." The live stream room instantly exploded. Netizens commented, "No way. Is this a drama?" Anna turned to the camera and seriously said, "Here, I want to especially thank my colleague Grand, who gave me the opportunity to interact with our farmer friends as part of the family. He also helped me understand the deeper significance of this live stream." She gave a sincere speech that moved hundreds of thousands of viewers. Coincidentally, the agricultural products being sold were of great value. Families scrambled to purchase. The once unsellable products from the mountains were now reaching households everywhere. Everyone was happy, but I felt a bit conflicted inside. I thought, in the end, I had become her NPC. Makoto, who was also in his own live stream room, was being cursed at to the point of losing his mind. He retaliated, saying, "See, this is what happens after he steals my girlfriend and then dumps her. The reason is simple, he just latched onto a rich woman and started living off her. George is spineless and shameless. He's a disgrace to all men, but who thinks they can just become a phoenix man? It's clear, he just pretended to be her boyfriend. But once everything returns to normal, he's still just a corporate slave." Soon, the crazed rants from Makoto were passed on to Anna's live stream room. Anna didn't respond again. She remained silent until the live stream ended. I stared blankly at the few cold words left in the closed live stream room. The next moment, Anna's call popped up on my screen. Her voice, which had been distant and detached just moments ago, now had a ripple of emotion. She said, Just now, I didn't know how to say it in the live stream, so I wanted to ask you, if you really have no feelings for that person anymore, would you consider me, your fake girlfriend, wants to become the real deal?" Chapter 11. Anna explained the events of the past few days. She spoke with a sense of grievance. "George, actually, I've liked you for a long time. The lottery at the annual meeting was something I had my assistant deliberately set up, and I purposely made sure you'd win. But after you won, you didn't seem happy, so I changed the explanation. In the end, you gave me a pile of broken pieces." "George, do you really dislike me that much?" I thought for a moment. It had nothing to do with dislike. The avoidance was simply due to insecurity and shyness. Suddenly, a phrase came to mind. "If you don't like something, you should say it boldly, or else others will think you don't mind. If you want something, you must fight for it openly. Otherwise, why would good things come your way?" I took a deep breath and wanted her to know about my open affection. But then I overheard some staff members talking loudly on the other end of the phone, almost as if they didn't want her to hear. One of them said, "We still have other work to do after the live stream. Wasn't she acting like a composed and aloof heiress earlier? Turns out she's just love-brained." I smiled and said, "In that case, when you get back, we'll have a serious talk. I think this is something I should say in person." I hung up the phone. Then, I sat back down and picked up the now cold bowl of mixed bean porridge. When the chickens saw me crouch down, they thought I was going to feed them and ran over. But when they saw the bowl in my hands, they walked away with cold disdain. My grandmother's food was so unappetizing that even the chickens wouldn't eat it. Only Anna would eat it. I smiled at the chickens and said, "Stay hungry for now. In a while, the one you like is coming to feed you herself." Miraculously, my grandmother, who had been deaf for years, overheard. With surprising energy, she rushed into the chicken coop and shouted, "Granddaughter-in-law is coming back. We'll slaughter 2 chickens tonight." Epilogue. The next morning, my grandmother stood at the door shouting for Anna. "Where are you going? Are you coming back for a meal?" She gave me, who was preparing to rake the field, a look of disdain and said, "Go muck out the manure." I laughed. No one did it better than my long-legged grandma when it came to mucking out manure. The next second, my grandmother yelled, "Why are you running so fast to muck manure?" She watched as Anna ran all the way to Willow's house. Willow was standing at the door, looking angrily at the manure scattered all over the place. stomping her feet. Anna pursed her lips and said, "It's just that the slope was too steep. I couldn't stop. I really didn't mean to do it." Willow was speechless. Anna added, "I just remembered something. Not that I came to ask on purpose." Willow sighed. "Go ahead. Ask," Anna said. "There's no need for us to keep competing, right? For every extra day you compete, I'll have to muck manure one more day." Willow covered her face. 1 year later, Makoto ended up in jail. We used the compensation we received for his slander to host our engagement banquet. During the toast, Willow tilted her chin up and nonchalantly said, "George has finally made it. He used to complain on WeChat every day about wanting to bring down the corrupt boss and fight to the end. He said he must have done so much wrong in his past life that in this life, he's stuck working for the boss. But now, look at him. He's marrying the boss's wife. Now he won't say he's going to bring the boss down anymore." Anna silently watched her perform, and with a smiling expression, she replied softly, "How do you know he hasn't taken him down? Besides, the battle is still very intense." Willow was fuming with anger. My fiancé's funded male college student was relentlessly pursuing her, and she called him a simp. But when the simp got into a car accident, she didn't hesitate to run away from our wedding to take care of him. The system judged that I had failed my mission to win her over, and the cost was, forget her. Chapter 1. October 1st was the day of my wedding. I was feeling a bit nervous. Wearing a black suit, holding a 3-carat diamond ring, I rehearsed over and over again behind the scenes of the chapel, imagining the most handsome way to slip the wedding band onto her finger when the time came. My fiancée rushed toward me, holding her wedding dress, and said, "Something's wrong, honey. Romeo's had a car accident." I couldn't help but furrow my brow. To be honest, I didn't like talking about Romeo, nor did I have much respect for him. He was a flamboyant man, always twirling his fingers like a diva. He liked wearing makeup and earrings. He even wore silver eyeliner. To me, he seemed effeminate, but my fiancée would always tell me I didn't understand. She said it was a kind of fragile aura that could awaken a woman's nurturing instincts and make them feel pity for him. I didn't want to discuss this any further. Romeo was a college student funded by my fiancé's family, and he had been infatuated with her for a long time. My fiancée knew about this and had made it clear to him in front of me, rejecting him and asking him not to bother her anymore. But he was persistent. He'd send her hand-woven bags, play the role of a courtier, make hairpins with peacock feathers he collected for her, and even buy her breakfast and lunch. He called it gifts between friends. I didn't feel particularly threatened. After all, I had far better conditions than Romeo. But one day, I saw my fiancée wearing the hairpin Romeo had given her, and something felt off. I sarcastically remarked, "Only he could do such cheap and useless things." My fiancée shot me a glance and retorted, "What's so great about having money? You act like your background is so noble." Her words stung me deeply. Chapter 02. Romeo had a car accident. On my happiest day, my fiancée was in a panic, running around in circles. She was on the verge of tears, pushing me repeatedly and saying, "What should I do? What should I do? Romeo must have known I was getting married today, and couldn't handle the shock. That's why he had the accident. It's my fault." I watched as the tears in my fiancé's eyes fell, one by one, like pearls from a broken string. Smudging the makeup she had just applied, she lifted the hem of her wedding dress. "I'm going to see him. If he doesn't make it, the last person he wants to see will be me. It's my fault." At this moment, I spoke with a hint of pleading in my voice. "Ali, don't be like this. Calm down. Our relatives and friends are all here. If you leave, the wedding will be called off. It'll be such a disgrace, don't you think?" "Bruno, how have you changed? You've become like this ever since you got money?" my fiancée asked, her eyes red. "A life is at stake. Is your face more important than that?" I didn't know how to respond. In the blink of an eye, my fiancée had already run out the door of the hall, holding her wedding dress. In that moment, I heard a mechanical female voice in my head, "Host, your attempt to win her over has failed. Request to erase your memories of the target." I awkwardly smiled and raised my glass in front of the guests. "Ladies and gentlemen, on this joyful day, let's raise our glasses to our motherland. Happy birthday." Chapter 03. After Alicia ran away from the wedding, I went to the hospital to find her. Thinking that Romeo was injured, I decided to bring flowers and fruits to visit him, so I asked the driver to go buy them. I sat alone in the car, smoking. I saw Alicia and Romeo walking out of the hospital together, laughing and talking. Just as I lowered my eyes, Romeo suddenly brushed the bridge of her nose lightly. Alicia giggled, lowering her head. I had my cigarette dangling from my lips. The lighter clicked 3 times but wouldn't light. It wasn't until then that I really looked at this Romeo. In the past, I had never thought much of him because I didn't see him as a man. He had a K-pop star-like hairstyle, a sharp face, eyes that were big and watery, and a star-shaped earring in his left ear. He spoke softly, and whenever he finished a sentence, he would stretch the last syllable. He was still in his senior year of college. His family conditions weren't good, and his health wasn't great either. His tuition and living expenses were all funded by Alicia's family. As for me, I came from a rich family in the city. Alicia had no reason to choose him over me, but at that moment, I couldn't stay calm. Chapter 04. Alicia once praised Romeo's eyes in front of me. She said she liked his eyes. They were pure, like a big boy's, with the smell of sunshine and grass, yet there was a kind of hazy, broken feeling to them, unlike my eyes, which were strong and determined, carrying a hint of darkness and invisible pressure. Alicia said I was too serious, sometimes, in a fit of temper. She said I didn't love her. She said I spent most of my time dealing with the company, and she felt like she was a dispensable part of my life. She said Romeo could give her everything, but I could only offer her a small fraction of what I had. Alicia said I had never really put thought into preparing a gift for her. Unlike Romeo, who could stay up all night making her a hand-crocheted bag, I would just buy her things like jade bangles, stuff that could be bought with money. She didn't need more money. I knew what she wanted, deep down, but I couldn't give it to her. I came from a very humble background. If it was just poverty, that would be one thing. But my father was a rapist, my mother ran away, and my grandmother was bedridden for years. I had no money to go to school. Even though I was top of the city in my entrance exams, I had endured too many scornful looks. I started working as a mason on construction sites, and to make an impression on my boss, I'd shield him from attacks, doing shady things like loan sharking and forced demolitions. Eventually, I started my own construction company and invested in real estate. I walked a long, dirty road before I reached Alicia's side, and in the process, I had lost the purity of my old self. For Alicia, I would overcome any obstacle, but I couldn't live my life over again. Chapter 05. Alicia knocked on my car window twice, revealing a soft, pink little face. She smiled at me under the sun. For a moment, Alicia's face blurred in my vision, and I couldn't see her clearly. The system's cold voice rang out. Host, your attempt to win her over has failed. Request to erase your memories of the target. My memories shattered into thousands of pieces, like little windows, spread out before my eyes. At 14, I was working as a mason on Alicia's father's construction site. Alicia was carrying a fluffy pink, cuddly leopard doll, brought by her father to experience life. She looked like a porcelain doll. Her dimples were deep, swirling like a vortex, and with one glance, she captured my heart. I didn't dare to look up at her. At 14, the site lost some steel bars, and my master pinned me down, beating me mercilessly. It had become an unspoken rule. Whenever something went wrong, everyone would blame me. The son of a rapist. If a dog left a poop on the roadside, it would be assumed to be mine. I got used to it. I lived like a stray dog, self-destructive, thinking this was the way my life was meant to be. It was the little Alicia, in her floral dress and pink shoes, who ran over, flushed with embarrassment, arguing with everyone, insisting that she had been watching me the whole time, and that I didn't steal the steel bars. It was little Alicia who helped me up, brushed the dirt off my clothes, and told me, word by word, it doesn't matter whose son you are. What matters is who you are. She even placed a truth-seeking rod into my hand. That rod has stayed with me all these years, through decades of time. In the middle of all the ruins, I reached out my hand, wanting to grab the ray of light from heaven. The system appeared at that moment, and a voice echoed in my mind. Ding. Hello, host. The mission has begun. Your target has appeared. Please make her fall in love with you and marry you. At that time, I felt like I was possessed by a demon. How could a porcelain doll-like girl ever be someone a person like me could dare to dream about? But I couldn't stop thinking about her, winning her over. No, she wasn't just a target. She was the faith that brought me back to life. I had walked a long road to get to her side, but now, it seemed she was about to leave me. Chapter 06. System, host, your attempt to win her over has failed. Request to erase your memories of the target. I watched as my memories of Alicia slowly shattered, dissipating without a trace. My hand reached out through the car window, grabbing Alicia's hand tightly. Sweat was pouring down my face in large drops. Ali, marry me. Hurry, get in the car, right now, we don't have time. Romeo, who was standing behind Alicia, suddenly changed color. He started panting heavily, his face turning pale as paper. Then, right before my eyes, he collapsed dramatically, clutching his chest in an exaggerated, fragile manner. With one hand still holding onto Alicia's dress hem, he weakly begged, please, don't do this to me. You know, my heart. His act of vulnerability was almost too much to bear. Alicia quickly wrenched her hand free from mine and crouched down to support him. Romeo, you can't be hurt. Then, turning to me in anger, she snapped, you're provoking him, on purpose, when he's still recovering from the accident. Bruno, I didn't expect this from you. Can't you be a little kinder? She pushed me aside and helped Romeo toward the hospital. System, host, Your attempt to win her over has failed. Request to erase your memories of the target. I was gasping for air, unable to think clearly. I told myself I couldn't give up. I hadn't lost yet. I began slamming my fist into the car window, my right hand bleeding and mangled. I used the sharp pain to keep myself awake. I screamed, "No, I haven't lost. I haven't lost yet. System, host, your attempt has failed. The system will forcibly erase your memories of the target." I screamed desperately, refusing to believe I was defeated. Then suddenly, there was a deafening crash behind me, and my vision blurred into darkness. Before I lost consciousness, I heard the system's voice, "Host, you haven't lost. It was your target who made you lose." Chapter 07. I woke up in the hospital. A crowd of people surrounded me. "Chairman, you're finally awake. The doctor said you're fine. Just drink more hot water." Regarding the green area land, what are your thoughts on that? Chairman, we've prepared the tender for the government's project to build public housing. We just need you to review it. Chairman, I rubbed my forehead and motioned for someone to bring me some hot water. A young woman, who looked rather delicate, leaned in close to me, her eyes brimming with tears. She almost knocked me over as she cried out, "Hubby, you're awake. I'm so sorry. I should have married you that day. If I had, you wouldn't have had the accident. It's all my fault." I extended my hand and gently pushed her away. Businessmen have a strict rule, no mixing of business and personal relationships. I looked at my assistant in confusion. "Who is this?" The assistant gave a snide smile. "Chairman, this is your fiancée. You don't remember her." "What?" I looked at the young woman. She had clear eyes, shining with an innocence that wasn't particularly bright. In a family like mine, marriage was supposed to be a family alliance. As a self-made man, I wanted a strong, capable partner, someone with sharp business acumen. This girl seemed naive, not the right match for me. I turned to my assistant and asked, "Whose daughter is she?" "Ma family real estate, only daughter, Alicia." Ma family. The Ma family had been on a decline for 3 years now. The heir was known for his vices, drinking, gambling, and other reckless behaviors. Inside sources said they were drowning in debt. Unless something unexpected happened, bankruptcy was imminent. Marrying into the Ma family wasn't a good idea. Unmarried. What's going on? The assistant didn't show it, but I could tell from her eyes that she was looking at me like I was an idiot. "Chairman, you might have forgotten due to your injury, but 3 days ago, you and this young lady had your wedding. She ran away to be with another man." I stared at her in shock. It was 2023, and people still ran away from weddings. If you didn't like someone, you didn't have to marry them. If you agreed to marry, don't back out. But perhaps this was for the best. I looked at Alicia. "Miss Ma, 3 days ago, you left me at the altar. It's clear you have someone else in your heart. As a gentleman, I won't stand in your way. I'll arrange for the marriage annulment soon. Please don't feel pressured." Alicia froze, her eyes wide in disbelief. Instantly, tears began to pour down her face, and her lips trembled. "Hubby, what are you saying? Don't tell me you don't want me anymore." I was a businessman, not a saint. There was no reason to soften my heart just because a woman cried. I couldn't understand why the woman who had left me still cried for me. I gave a polite smile and motioned for my assistant to escort her out. Chapter 08. In the few days I was recovering from my injuries, there was a lot of work piling up. By the time I finished, it was already past midnight. I was about to take a hot shower when my phone rang. I looked down at the screen. "Alicia." I picked up the phone, and she immediately started shouting at me. "Bruno, why haven't you called me? Are you ignoring me on purpose?" I held the phone at arm's length. "Miss Ma, what's going on?" Alicia burst into tears. "Bruno, are you mad at me? Are you pretending to have amnesia to make me angry?" She sniffled. "Well, you've succeeded. I'm really upset right now. You'd better apologize." I gently massaged my temples. "Pretend to have amnesia? Miss Ma, do you think I'm that petty? Do you think I have nothing better to do than act in a soap opera with you?" I forced a laugh. "Miss Ma, if it's not something important, don't call me. If it is, contact my assistant. Everything should go through the proper channels." Alicia cried uncontrollably, saying, "Bruno, I didn't mean to run away from the wedding. I just thought Romeo was dying." "That means you've made a choice. As adults, we need to take responsibility for our decisions." I hung up the phone and went into the shower. Afterward, I sent an email to my secretary, instructing him to go to the Ma family's house early tomorrow morning to annul the marriage. There was no way I was going to handle it personally. The Ma family's daughter had publicly run away from the wedding and slapped my family's face. I wasn't that easy to deal with. Chapter 09. I slept until the afternoon of the next day. When I woke up, I heard that Sam, the chairman of Ma real estate, had come to visit, bringing his daughter along. What's meant to happen will always come around. I quickly tidied myself up and went out to meet them. Sam looked a decade older, his demeanor stiff and uneasy, probably due to the recent struggles of the Ma family business. As soon as they entered the room, Sam slapped Alicia hard across the face. It was a heavy slap. Alicia staggered, Her waist hit the corner of my desk with a thud, and she fell to the floor. Her hair scattered, and blood appeared at the corner of her mouth. I frowned. Mr. Ma, let's talk properly. No need to embarrass the girl in front of me. Sam grunted. She won't learn unless I discipline her. He then forced Alicia to serve me tea, explaining with a forced smile that Alicia was young and naive, that she'd been deceived, and in a panic, she ran away thinking someone had died. Sam added, Chairman, you know my daughter, she's always been kind-hearted, always pitying the weak. She never meant to disrespect you. Alicia, still dazed, struggled to get up from the floor. She shakily poured me a cup of tea and handed it to me with a bow. I looked down at her and said, Mr. Ma, when it comes to marriage, you can't force it. Miss Ma ran away from the wedding in front of everyone for another man. That's a clear sign she has someone in her heart. I've already found out who it is. He's a university student supported by your family. Someone Miss Ma has known since she was young. I, Bruno, never force anyone into a relationship. I'm not lacking in women, and I don't just take anyone. So, I gently pushed the tea she handed over back towards her, smiling. I hope Miss Ma finds a better match. When that happens, I'll be happy to send my congratulations. Upon hearing this, Alicia immediately exploded, throwing the teacup to the floor with a loud crash. Bruno, how dare you? I'm Alicia. I'm not some woman who can't get married, and I'm not some desperate person who needs you. With that, she stormed out of the room. I turned to look apologetically at the Ma couple. Sam's face was flushed with anger, alternating between green and pale. He snapped at me. Young chairman, those words were a bit too harsh, don't you think? I chuckled lightly. Miss Ma ran away from our wedding, and I ended up in a car accident. Such a big deal. And yet, the Ma family waits for me to come to them to annul the marriage before you make time to give an explanation. At this point, it was clear we were past saving face. Sam was about to retort, but he was interrupted by a loud, wet cough. After a long pause, he huffed, flicked his sleeve, and left with his wife. I sat there calmly, playing with my walnut, a faint smile on my lips. Chapter 10. My company was in the process of preparing for an IPO, and I was interacting more frequently with the fund companies in the industry. Though I'm not someone who enjoys attending events, I was reluctantly dragged into a few cocktail parties and salons. At one of these events, Valentina, the vice president of Hong Yang Fund, caught my attention. As a normal man, my first instinct when seeing a woman is to look at her face and figure. Valentina was wearing a wine-red gown that day, and her pearl necklace shone brightly. I went over to chat with her, mostly about stock market matters. If Valentina's looks had only drawn me in, her professional expertise truly impressed me. I continued talking to her for a bit longer. By the time we were a few drinks in, we ended up dancing. I was enjoying myself that night, completely unaware of the two poisonous glares staring at me from behind. At some point, Alicia showed up, and she wasn't alone. Romeo was with her. When Alicia saw me dancing with Valentina, with my hand around her waist, she immediately lost her temper. She grabbed a glass of red wine and hurled it at Valentina's face. I reacted quickly, stepping in front of Valentina, and the wine splashed across my suit instead. Alicia spat venomously. Bruno, no wonder you so casually annulled our marriage. You've already found someone new. You were probably fooling around with her even when we were together. What a seamless transition. I frowned and took off my suit jacket, signaling my assistant to bring me a new one. I glanced at Romeo behind Alicia. This must be the men she had run away for. I couldn't help but laugh silently. As I changed into my new suit, I said, since Miss Ma already has someone in her heart, what's the point of still bothering me? I pointed to Alicia. My suit cost $12,000, and Miss Ma ruined it. You'll handle the compensation. I turned to look at Alicia. Miss Ma, you've caused a scene with my dance partner. Don't you think an apology is in order? Valentina simply waved her hand with a nonchalant smile and walked away, leaving Alicia to lose her mind on the spot. I shot her a look, then called Sam to come pick her up. But before I could get through, she snatched my phone away and slammed it onto the ground. She began stomping on my phone like a madwoman, then raised herself on tiptoe to kiss Romeo on the lips, deliberately tilting her chin in a defiant challenge. Bruno, you don't really think I can't get married, do you? You think I'm desperate for you? I lifted my glass with a faint smile, nodding toward her. Well then, I wish Miss Ma and Mr. Su a lifetime of happiness. Chapter 11. I honestly didn't expect Romeo to come looking for me. I'm not interested in fighting for a woman. Recently, I've been communicating quite well with Valentina. She's beautiful, intelligent, elegant, and rational. She controls the largest private equity fund in the country. Spending time with her, while not overly passionate, is very comfortable. She's incredibly sharp, gets things done with precision, and has a strong sense of balance. More importantly, she comes from a similar background to mine. She too has fought her way up from the bottom, understanding the harsh realities of life. That's why she's broad-minded and able to embrace everything. I respect women like her. I believe she would make an excellent partner and business ally. After all, I once had a marriage arrangement with Alicia, but because of Valentina, I've been avoiding anything related to Alicia. Given my status and position, if I don't want to see her, she shouldn't have any chance to see me. So, it was quite unexpected when Romeo showed up. The moment Romeo entered my office, he plopped down on the sofa, nonchalantly speaking up, "Give me 50 million, and I'll give Alicia to you." I was stunned. "I say, you might as well keep it. It'd take me 2 months to earn that." Romeo pushed further. "How about 25 million? I signaled for my assistant to escort him out. Where did this madman come from? Romeo was forcibly dragged out by 2 burly men, but he kept craning his neck and shouting, 10 million, 5 million, 5,000 bucks. No, I'll even pay you 5,000 bucks to work for you. Please, take Alicia away, bro. I furrowed my brows. This guy was definitely a little off. It was a real disgrace to have once shared a woman with him. Then, he suddenly blurted out, I have a system. I really have a system. Please just listen to me. System, huh? I remembered this. It had appeared long ago, claiming that the world I lived in was actually a book, and my task in the story was to make Alicia fall in love with me and marry me. Then, a while ago, when Alicia ran away from the wedding, the system told me my mission had failed and erased my memories of Alicia. So, I was supposed to have forgotten about her. It wasn't a big deal. She and I were never meant to be, but what was with this Romeo? I waved my hand, signaling to bring him in. Romeo didn't beat around the bush. He smiled bitterly and said, Bro, what do I look like right now? I paused for a moment. Like a sissy. Romeo slapped his thigh with a loud smack. Bro, your eye for detail is spot on. You're the main character of the book. After all, I'm just a sissy now. I remained silent. Then, Romeo started taking off his clothes. I furrowed my brow. What are you doing? It's pretty obvious I like women. Romeo suddenly burst into tears, frantically ripping up the tissues in my office. When I tried to stop him, I told him to calm down, but he was like a wild boar that couldn't be subdued. As we struggled, he managed to get his shirt off. He pointed to his bulging abs and said, Bro, look at this. How do I look? I replied, like a real man. Romeo, crazy. Romeo continued, Bro, you have no idea how disgusting this system of mine is. Bro, look at you, and then look at me. I'm telling you, our world is a book. You are the protagonist. I'm just a supporting character. You're the chosen one, the dragon among men. But look at me, I'm just a loser. Seriously, the gap between people is so huge. You're a born protagonist, an indigenous hero. I, on the other hand, am from another world, a country bumpkin. You've got a golden finger, and I'm just the second lead. A weak, sissy second lead. Bro, do you know what a second lead is? It's the guy who's a simp for the heroine, the one who makes the hero jealous, the tool who's there to be summoned or dismissed. My fate is to keep this weak, sissy image, lick the heroine's boots until you and her break through me and live happily ever after. My system told me that if I failed my mission, it would castrate me. I've been living in fear of this for 25 years. Can you imagine? But just a few days ago, my system told me that you also have a system. You failed in your mission, and I succeeded. The reward for my success, I get the heroine. But the scary part is, the system told me it had made a mistake. It told me that if I failed, it wouldn't castrate me. In fact, seeing how hard I've worked to maintain my character, it might let me win the lottery for 50 million. Romeo cried out, 50 million, bro. I missed out on 50 million. Please, help me complete the mission. You take the heroine back. I know you don't care about the 50 million, but you care about her. I know she's your precious, so I'm giving her back to you. I really need that 50 million. Romeo pointed to his shiny earring in his left ear. Bro, look at me. Maintaining this character is just as bad as being castrated. Before I came here, I was a pig butcher, a tough, steel-hearted man. Why can't I just be a real man? I think I finally understood. If the world we live in is truly a book, then the ending should be me and Alicia ending up together, and Romeo walking away with the 50 million. But now there's a bug. I failed my mission, and Romeo ended up with the heroine Alicia, someone he didn't even want. So, for the sake of 50 million, he came to me to restore the original storyline. But honestly, I didn't see the need for that. I thought things were fine as they were. So, I rejected Romeo's request and watched his face gradually fade into despair. I'm a businessman, not a Buddha. Money comes when it's meant to. If it's not in the cards, there's no point in forcing it. That 50 million, it's not meant to be his. Chapter 12. Alicia is getting married. The groom isn't Romeo. It's a young heir from a family alliance. A wealthy heir who could save the Ma family's declining business. This young heir is a typical second generation, with a strong father but mediocre abilities himself. I've met plenty of people like him. Alicia came in person to deliver the invitation. I was reading through some documents when my assistant handed it to me. I glanced at it and placed it on the tea tray. Yes, I'll go. Alicia looked stunning that day, wearing a fiery red dress and a large diamond necklace. We hadn't seen each other for months. Things felt distant. She wasn't as turbulent as before. Alicia sat on the sofa for a while. I finished going through most of the materials, and only then did she ask coldly, "Are you done?" I pointed to the materials. "I still have a bit left, Miss Ma. Is there anything else?" Alicia gave a faint, sad smile. "I wasn't talking about that." She stared at me, as if trying to look into my soul, and spoke each word slowly. "I'm getting married tomorrow. Don't you have anything else to say? Congratulations." Alicia lowered her eyes. When she looked up again, her eyes glistened with unshed tears. She said, "Bruno, give me a word, just one word, and I won't marry him. I'll come back to you, just one word." I tapped my pen on the desk. "I really have lost my memory of you." Memories can change, but character doesn't. Over this period, I've learned about our past from others. If we've had so much history, then you should understand the kind of person I am. Whether or not I've lied to you about my memory, you know in your heart, I'm not someone who throws tantrums. Alicia's eyes lit up. I smiled faintly. "On the day of our wedding, I must have begged you to stay, but you didn't. I've always kept a journal to fill in the gaps of my memory. I've gone through every page. I realized everything I desperately tried to hold on to was for you. Looking back now, it's laughable. I guess I did it for myself, to give myself an excuse, a reason not to give up. Even without you, there would have been others, other things. The road I'm on is difficult. My starting point was you, but the end isn't. I am someone who will do anything to climb up, to change my destiny and the fate of future generations. You, on the other hand, are a spoiled child. You enjoyed my protection and affection while also savoring Romeo's sycophantic concern. You thought I would always be behind you, waiting whenever you called. But no, we all have our own lives. Even if I hadn't lost my memory, we wouldn't have gone far. We aren't on the same path. It was just that during those years, my attention made you shine. You're getting married tomorrow, and I'll be there." I smiled. "But once you're married, don't come looking for me. Don't look for anyone else. Marriage is not a game. You'd better take my words seriously." Alicia stared at me, the same way she did when we first met, with intense focus, and then she grit her teeth and said, "Can't you see? The reason I'm getting married so hastily is just to piss you off." I took a sip of tea, but it got caught in my throat, and I started coughing violently. It seems that despite everything I just said, she hadn't taken a single word to heart. "Well, fine. I'll be getting married soon too, to Valentina. Unless something unexpected happens, we'll never see each other again." Epilogue. After that, I never saw Alicia again. Of course, I went to her wedding. She cried the entire time. People said she was crying her way to marriage, unable to leave her parents. I took a quick glance and left, seeing her trailing behind, her gown in hand, staring blankly as her new husband restrained her. I smiled, and left. Soon after, I got married, and we immigrated abroad. Everything back home no longer concerned me. But once, when I came back for business, I heard people say Alicia wasn't doing well. The Ma family went bankrupt, and Alicia was living off others. She, confused and lost, kept mumbling about me, showing up at my company, at my house, at the places we once visited together. She even posted on social media. She said that you can't love what you've loved before, but you can walk through what you've walked together again. Her husband found out, and soon, the two of them began arguing every other day. After a few more rounds, he stopped paying her any attention and started keeping another woman. Then she turned into a bitter, resentful woman, forever clinging to the past, neither dead nor truly living. It was something I could have predicted, but what did it have to do with me? My company went public, and my beautiful wife gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. My life was full of happiness, and there was nothing I regretted.